Wait. No. Check. Check it, doodle. Check city. Check it. Wait, did that do it? Hold on. Yeah, check. Oh, thank God. I have no idea why it just, some days, it just, hold on, my other light's on. Because I was crawling around under the thing, and I fixed the line in the middle of the thing because one of my lights died. So much stuff. Hi, chat room. How are you? Sorry about that. Welcome. Glad you could be here. I gave you a little more time to get in here and hang out and that kind of stuff. I was attacked, obviously, by the deep state establishment, Rhino Dino Uniparty, and they tried to shut us down, but they were unsuccessful. And thanks to you, we're riding high and we're doing great, or something. Hi, it's HAL SPARKS Mega Worldwide. It's Tuesday, and today was what I would call psych out day. Apparently, Trump gassed up his plane last night. Everybody was thinking he was going to turn himself in, if indeed they put forward an indictment today. And by the way, I would like to welcome everyone to the show. Hello, chat room. Good to see you. Looking good, chat room. How you doing? You all right? This Saturday, Flappers, Patreon live stream for those folks. Everybody else has to wait a little while to see what the hell I was talking about. And then Tuesday, Ultimate Jam Night. It's free to come in downstairs. The upstairs, I think, costs something, but I don't know how that works because I gotta just host the thing and sing a few songs. And I'm just saying there's going to be some ginormous guests. It is not Chip. It is obviously one of the things discussed between Xi Jinping and Vladimir Putin was how to deal with this HAL Sparks fella. And just for the record, I am not eating anything spicy for a little while, and I'm not standing near any third floor windows. It's just a precaution, and I feel okay about it. But I've got bigger fish to fry. Obviously, the Illuminati establishment, deep state, Dino Rhino Uniparty is my biggest threat. Not because the other ones aren't big threats, but because it's local. You know what I mean? It's kind of that they're my biggest domestic threat. And so hi. Yes, it would be generally wise. It's why I do the show in my basement. Not really a basement. It's more because it opens onto the yard. So it's the same issue. We're going to have this debate. A basement has to be underground. If you live on a mild hill slope and your house opens out onto a bit of grass, you're not in a basement anymore. I don't know, it's still a first story. It's just like 1.5. It's some sort of Malkovich mid-floor situation. But I don't want to get into this. It's too much of an argument. The kidney. We have bigger fish to fry today. Ladies and gentlemen, Abby Grossberg is taking him to town. I don't know if you know this, but apparently some of the folks at Fox News are not on board with this whole I'm being sued by Dominion 2 business, and I don't want to lose my money when this business goes down. It's not a good sign when your witnesses in a civil case that could cost you $1 billion sue you. I think that's bad. I'm going to go, okay, so that's bad. The important safety tip. Thanks, Egon. I have never heard of that before. Has anybody, and I'm sure it's happened. I'm sure there's some sort of precedent. But if you haven't seen the story, it's making the rounds. Fox News producer files explosive lawsuits against the network alleging she was coerced into providing misleading Dominion testimony. Oh, boy. Fox News producer on Monday filed a pair of explosive lawsuits against the right-wing talk channel, alleging that the network's lawyers coerced her into providing misleading testimony in the Dominion Voting System's $1.6 billion defamation case against the company. Man, is there a better way to go from defense witness to plaintiff witness than that? That's swift. The lawsuits filed by Abby Grossberg, who worked as a senior booking producer for Maria Bartiromo, first of all, that woman had to field calls from Donald Trump, who was allowed free reign on that show. And if she was the senior booking producer, she had to wrangle him, meaning she had to talk to Junior or Steve Miller or Jason Miller, any of the Miller kids at Miller's Crossing, all of them. And I think she has a lawsuit against Fox just for having to talk to Trump early on a Sunday morning. Should be like, isn't there a religious exemption that would get you out of that? No. All right. So, and most recently had a booking for Tucker Carlson. Yes. So she's had to talk to Trump, Jimmy Dore, Russell Brand, Jack Posobiec, and Candace Owens. This poor woman's been through enough. I don't know why she didn't sue sooner. The lawsuits from Grossberg, who has since been placed on administrative leave from Fox, you don't say. Really? She's not going to, she didn't show up for work at Tucker's and start cold calling people to see if they want to be guests after filing 2 giant lawsuits that may in the end be the linchpin in costing Fox News $1 billion or $500 million in the settlement. Or I guess since it's 1.2 or 1.5 between Dominion and Smartmatic, they might kind of class action them and drop it down to, a cool $1 billion. Yeah. Southern District of New York. Fox News attorneys acted as agents at the behest of Fox News to misleadingly coach, manipulate, and coerce Ms. Grossberg to deliver shaded and or incomplete answers during her sworn deposition testimony, which answers were clearly to her reputational detriment. Lovely. But greatly benefited Fox News. Temporarily, it doesn't benefit you if you're caught. I think that's the whole thing about like bank robberies. It's very beneficial to you until you go to jail. I think. I don't know. We'll have to. Do we have any bank robbers in the chat? Where are you guys? Anybody? And it doesn't have to be a bank, obviously. Pawn shops, anything that would show up in the movie Drive, which is excellent, by the way, and has a fantastic soundtrack. And I would say that Albert Brooks' finest dramatic acting he's ever done. Just terrific. So, nope, sorry. Dora and the recent low-life guest probably got on because she was either already gone or getting revenge. Maybe so. Maybe that's the best we can do. It's possibly. You only rob the kidney. What? Dare you? By the way, you're watching HAL Sparks Mega Worldwide. Let's get into our clippage this evening because there's a lot of stuff to cover. Obviously,
meantime,
Trump
the
world was all a
NYPD is
panic. Hold on. Trump world was all a panic about hold on. There's something weird happening with I hope my audio software is working. You guys will have to let me know if you can't hear stuff because there's a lag in my audio software, so the meters mean nothing. Maybe if I shut the window, I don't know. Anyways, and I've got to also go this. Oh no, I'm already on that page. Good. All right. So here we go. Gosh, where do we even start? There's just so much. All right, hold on. I got to open this. Here, hold on one second. Why do I not hear you? You crazy thing. Why can I not hear you? Hold on. I've got to, Thank you. Opening up a page. Give me 1 second. And then, I need to monitor that. So turn that on and get at it. There we go. All right. Now I'll be able to hear it like you guys can hear it. And there's so many people we can go to who can give us a lay of the land, a bird's eye view, a view from outer space, a macroscopic, myopic, singular vision of what's going on. And few better than Judge Janine when it comes to legal matters at Fox News, who seems, even though she was allegedly a judge at one point, still calls herself a judge at this point, well, we'll see if she's able to do it. But she brings on Joe Tacopina, or as we like to call him around these parts, he's Trump's lawyer, Joe Tacopina. We like to call him Joey Peanuts. I think it's a great nickname. I think Joey Peanuts does a fantastic job. He's terrific here in this kind of situation when he's, so Joey Peanuts, come on. and a judge is fresh from some Botox. It's a different thing. It's where they take the Botox and they freeze the skin and then they roll it and staple. It's a long process. I don't even want to talk about it. It makes me slightly nauseous. But she has on Joey Peanuts and a red jacket and 2 microphones because fancy. And to talk about this is fun. The title, possible Trump indictment coming this week. And then it says right here, Trump attorney Joey Peanuts. It is mind-boggling we are at this point. Okay. You're his attorney. If it's stunning that it came to this to you, that means it's your fault. If you're like, any first-year law student could get this kicked out of the courtroom, this is ridiculous. On its face, any judge, even the most liberal judge, would see this as an attack on the First Amendment and the blah, 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 blah. It's a man's life and his wife and blah, blah, blah. Any low-life ambulance chaser could get this kicked. I, however, suck, so he's probably going to go to jail. I honestly, my best legal advice to him would be find another attorney. So here we go. This is possible indictment coming. Joey Peanuts. It is mind-boggling that we are at this point.
In New York.
By the way, for the record, some minds are easier boggled than others, as I'm sure we will find out.
City, where the 45th president of the United States, Donald Trump, is expected to be indicted as early as tomorrow morning.
Yeah, but obviously we missed that deadline because they're fucking with him. I think, by the way, this was kind of a setup, too. Like, they were like, Tuesday, we need you to come in. They're like, Tuesday or Wednesday, maybe Thursday. Anyway, but anytime before Friday morning, but after Tuesday. You know what's good for me is noon on Tuesday. And so they're just like, with him, with Joey Peanuts and Trump, they're just like, like that. And it helps because, on the one hand, you might get some Long Island maggots who are, just have to drive or take a train in town to start some shit. But the real dangerous ones, the ones that are going to like bus in from Kansas or fly in on a, grab the quickest Spirit flight and a hotel room. They're not even done picking their Airbnb in a Russian-owned building. So they were all set to fly in last night and be there for their man. And then it didn't happen. So now what? I would say taking a show. New York is a fabulous place. It really is. You know what's the funniest thing is? When a bunch of these maggots show up in New York and don't get mugged, like they literally, to experience violence, a lot of them will have to start it themselves. You don't think some of them will go, that's weird, eh? I walked all the way from the subway station to Trump Tower, and then we all walked, a bunch of us down there, and not one of us was hit in the head with a bat. Starting to think this orange shit gibbon is full of bananas.
These unprecedented charges from the state of New York could range from a misdemeanor to a low-level felony.
Well, he's a low-level guy, so I mean, if he was really worth his stuff, this would be a masterful felony of mega proportions on the lines, in the genre of like Bernie Madoff, but he's kind of an 8-bit criminal.
Derived from a novel legal theory about an alleged payment to a porn star.
Yes, an alleged payment to a porn star. By the way, you can kind of tell who's on Team Trump and who is not because of how they tell the story.
6 years ago. But today, in front of that grand jury, the state's key witness, Michael Cohen, was discredited by his own former legal advisor, Robert Costello. Take a look.
Wait a minute. So the fixer who was engaged in an illegal activity that he himself went to jail, like this dude was his legal advisor during the time that he did all the things that he went to jail for ultimately. Please go on.
I just spent 2 hours or so testifying before the grand jury in downtown Manhattan.
Did the point that I brought up ever come up? That you were his legal advisor before he came clean, like up to the point where he lied to Congress, like when he was when you were his legal advisor during, says who? You were during that period.
And I got my point across, although it was clear to me that the Manhattan DA's office did not want to get to the truth. I need to explain that a little bit.
Yes, I think you do.
Called them up after I saw Michael Cohen on TV stating things that he said he was going to tell the grand jury and had told the grand jury that were contrary to what he told us when we first represented him in April of 2018. So I'm sitting at home.
You mean when he was lying on behalf of Trump? Back before he realized that his loyalty to Trump was a waste of fucking time and he was stupid for doing it, and he had an eye-opening experience, where he met his gullible self face to face and did not like the reflection. You mean before that, when he was like, hey, I'm a lying piece of shit working for a lying piece of shit. Whom shall I hire?
Home watching these lies, and I said, I've got to do something about it. I don't represent Donald Trump, but I do stand for justice, and I think I have a legal obligation to inform both sides. So that's what I did.
So you broke attorney-client privilege, and you recommend that attorneys break attorney-client privilege whenever politically expedient, or they think it might be. Smiling Poodle Lady, thank you so much. Thanks for subbing. That's so lovely.
So what does this testimony actually mean for the case going forward?
Fuck all. You're welcome.
In just a moment, we'll review the horrendous track record from New York's leftist, incompetent, Soros-funded, and politically charged District Attorney Alvin Bragg.
Yeah, terrible. The guy can't do anything right except scare the shit out of Donald Trump, apparently. There are some people, they just have one skill, and they do that one thing really well.
But first, joining us now with more on what we can expect this week.
And we do mean moron.
Trump attorney Joe Tacopina.
Joey Peanuts, what's happening? Fantastic. And he doesn't look at all like a Trump attorney would look to any of us. I swear to God, this guy looks like Michael Cohen's stunt double. It's like Trump is doing with attorneys and fixers what he does with wives. He just found the younger model.
All right, good evening, Joe. There's so much to talk to you about.
Excuse me, that's Sergeant Peanut to you.
I find that statement that Bob Costello gave to Tucker within the last few minutes to be stunning, but not so surprising, I guess, in terms of his saying it's clear to me the Manhattan DA did not want to get to the truth. What can you tell us about?
Well, yeah, he was reluctant to charge Trump or go through with this. He had people in his office who resigned because they saw the evidence and they're like, what the fuck are you waiting for? And he was going to, ironically, treat Trump like they accuse him of treating violent criminals in New York, which is just letting them go. Bragg is not a prosecutorial DA. Literally, he's thinking that there's only about 10% of crimes that need any kind of charge at all, and he's trying to keep his number as low as possible. Because in a city like New York, if you bring a case, more than likely, you're going to put somebody in jail because they do awful shit. There's a lot of people in New York. There's a lot of money to be made. There's a lot of pedestrians and suckers and future serial killer victims in a city that big. And if you start bringing cases, those fuckers are getting convicted because they're guilty. The only way to thin the herd in the jails and in the prisons in New York in general is to not charge guilty people. And Bragg, ironically enough, that's been the big complaint from the right about Bragg. And it was also the complaint of his fellow DAs or the people under him who were like, what the fuck is the matter with you? We've seen look at this. He's guilty. There's a dozen fucking crimes here. And he's like, I don't know.
The charges, if they're coming, and if so, when?
You do realize you're talking to Trump's attorney. He's probably the last person who knows the details. I feel like even people in my chat probably know the answer or have a better guess at it than he does.
You know, Janine, I mean, they're not obviously keeping us in the loop. And I've really racked my brains trying to figure out how they could fit that round hole into a square peg or a square peg into the round hole.
Yeah, it's the other way around, actually. Fitting a round hole into a square peg is not difficult. It's about size at that point. Don't ask me how I know that.
It's mind-boggling that we're at this point. This is a case.
If I had a mind, it would be boggled right now, Judge.
That has, I heard you say novel legal theory, some said. There is.
Yeah, she just said that.
Absolutely no legal theory that matches the facts here. There's two very.
Well, that's what a defense attorney should say.
Important things that happened. This was a settlement like any other settlement, in a nuisance settlement, in a claim of this manner, where some.
Yeah, okay. Just don't say hand job during Shark Week with someone who isn't your wife shortly after she just had a baby. This matter. We'll just leave it at that. That's way better. Thanks, Joy Peanuts.
Claiming they had a relationship and they were going to go public with it.
I wouldn't call it a relationship. I mean, in Trump world, that might qualify as a relationship because he probably thinks of some of his ex-wives in the exact same category as people he got a handy from in a foreign hotel room. So,
AKA extortion, by the way.
Oh, yeah? Well, I guess, so you're saying that the former president has things in his past that he could be extorted for, and therefore his proximity to national secrets might be a bad thing. Essentially what Joey Peanuts is saying is if this asshole tried to get a regular government job at any level, they would broom him because he's got money problems and suspicious ties and extramarital affairs, and they all kind of come together in one seedy office meeting in Trump Tower.
But that's nothing more or nothing less than what this was. It was a settlement.
Nothing more and nothing less.
Made by a lawyer, okay? And the lawyer subsequently created invoices and billed the client for much more than that, and for other things.
And for other things. What were those things?
Understand this.
So you're going on the shipping and handling defense. Your Honor, I did not buy the Supermax dildomatic penetrating penis stretcher. I didn't do it. I didn't buy it. He bought it. I just paid him plus shipping and handling. He bought it. I'm just saying, technically speaking, Your Honor, I'm being charged with what? Paying shipping and handling? Sue me. So I'm a big fan of Ronco.
There's two really crucial distinctions here.
Yes. One, she wasn't his wife. Two, it really happened. Please go on.
One, this was paid not with campaign funds, but with personal funds.
Right. Yeah, that's because he was self-funding his fucking campaign, dummy. So at that point, all your spare money can become campaign funds. You didn't think about I don't know, maybe as Joey Peanuts, as a lawyer for someone running for president, perhaps you ought to sit the fucker down and give him a little lesson in why, in some cases, campaigns separate their personal funds from their campaign funds specifically through either loans that are tracked or just by getting donations. One of the reasons you do that is not just because you want other people to pay for your campaign, but because it stiff arms shit like this from stuff like that.
If President Trump thought this was a campaign violation, certainly, or something that would fall within the purview of a campaign, it would have been paid with campaign funds. Second,
again, he bragged about self-funding his campaign, dumbass. Like, this is so bad.
And most importantly, The bright line test for personal use, whether it is or is not a campaign donation, is when you have personal funds, you look to see if that payment would have been made irrespective of the candidate's campaign. Here.
So the question is the timeliness of it, and I guess we're going to have to learn in Discovery, Joey Peanuts, and way to fuck it up for everybody. I guess we're going to have to learn how many women he's paid to keep their mouth shut, because that will be his defense now. You fucking moron. This guy over here, this guy, talk about walking into a rake. Hey, dumbass, you realize what you just said? Do you realize what you just said? Yeah. And by the way, Leather Goddess of Phobos says it was paid for in personal funds, reimbursed in campaign funds. Get it? Yeah, get it right. We know this. But let's just enjoy the fact that this fuck up just gave Alan Bragg, or whoever's prosecuting the case directly, the ability to ask, because of a protestation made by his attorney on national television, well then, how many women have you paid to keep their fucking mouth shut during your 3 marriages? And what were those amounts, so that we know if this was more or standard issue, and whether, if you did it a bunch of times, when did you do it? Did you do it because your wife got a phone call and you're like, down low, or because you had a book coming out, or you had a new season of The Apprentice and you were trying to tamp something down that might bite into your NBC deal? Because if that was the case, and you did it to protect your book sales, and then you did it to protect your show, and then you did it to protect your campaign, that's a fucking campaign donation. See what I'm saying? You can't. Do I have to, folks? Do I have to outthink everybody? Okay.
Clearly, the answer is yes. As even Michael Cohen had to testify under oath when he pled guilty, that it was done to protect the president and his family from personal embarrassment.
Yeah, but he was lying then. That's the whole point. And he came clean and he went to jail because he was lying.
So it's mind-boggling that we're at this point. The rule of law is being stretched to pursue a political opponent of this prosecutor, and this prosecutor's...
Wait a minute, Alan Bragg's running for president?
Support.
He's probably got a better chance than Trump of securing the Republican nomination right now.
System, which is the far left, the George Soroses of the world, who loathe everything Donald Trump. And so they're using it.
No. Yeah, that's not fair. George Soros made his billions manipulating currency, shorting the British pound, essentially, engaging in, in currency manipulation that wrecked homes. There is no way that George Soros's method of getting his billions didn't result in a myriad of suicides, and businesses going out of, like shutting down, people going out of business, and financial fortunes completely destroyed. There's no way it didn't happen. So in terms of that, there's a lot about Trump that Soros might actually like. They basically, both of their financial histories are based on bullshit that's maybe legal, but completely immoral. Now, in this case, it seems like Soros is trying to make up for it late in his life, like he's aware that he was a fucking scumbag and that people died because he decided to make money on shorting the pound and manipulating currency markets. Still an asshole. But the only place they seem to differ is one of them thinks that penance can help and the other one thinks it's for losers.
Case that, by all accounts, was
all billionaires are horrible, honestly. Yeah, not really. Nope. The growth of the economy across the world has created multiple accidental billionaires. And by the way, in a myriad of industries that are completely optional. The billionaires I have a problem with are resource billionaires. I or my family was born on top of a pile of shit and you need it or you're going to die and you can't have it unless you go through me. That's awful. If you dream up an app and you become a billionaire because of whatever, I give a shit. If you're not enslaving people to get it made, it's not even in the ballpark of how, you know, the folks that you're talking about. That's another conversation for another time. But I would like to say, but for the record, that let's just pretend that Trump is a billionaire for a second. He isn't. But let's pretend that he and Soros both fit into the awful billionaire category, for the record, even if Soros is trying to make up for it.
Then on arrival, by all accounts, was turned down by every other agency that looked at it, and by this district attorney's office, who had put this in the grand jury 2 years ago, and then withdrew it from the grand jury.
All right,
because they didn't.
Because they were because of January 6th, because there were bigger fish to fry.
Find that there was enough.
They figured he was going to like be impeached and go to jail on other shit, and it would look petty by comparison. But then at some point they're like, you know what? If anybody else broke this law, they'd be in deep shit. Why does he get a pass? Please go on.
To bring a case.
All right, so just so we're clear, there is nothing illegal about giving someone money for them to be quiet. It's
Thank God. Whew. I mean, what? No, Judge, you're safe.
done every day in the corporate world, in the business world. It's called an NDA. So
You don't pay people to sign an NDA. You might have to pay somebody enough so that they will sign an NDA, but usually you get them to sign an NDA when you've paid them so that people don't know you paid them and ask what you paid them to keep quiet about, because that kind of defeats the whole purpose of fucking paying them, one would think. But hey, the great thing is it's not illegal. It's just, in this case, gross and immoral, but only if you're an evangelical Christian posing as a pious individual.
when they say it was an illegal payment, let's make it clear it was not. That's number one.
Well, the reimbursement would have been the illegal part because he paid through another party because he had an awareness of guilt.
Number two.
Ew, there was number 2 involved? I always heard it was just a pee-pee tape. I can't take it.
The statute of limitations, Joe, has run on this.
Yeah, that's the other thing. It may be illegal, but it's been way too long. He got away with it. I mean, for the American judicial system to survive and for America to not collapse under the weight of this horridness, we have to let Trump get off on a technicality.
Plus, you've got a Manhattan DA, this Soros-funded prosecutor, who's trying to bootstrap a federal crime when the feds have already said it's not a crime. Is that correct?
Well, is it correct that it's not a crime? Or is it correct that they've said it's not a crime? Or is it correct your entire statement? Your Honor, can someone read that back? I don't know. And don't tell me you spilled wine on the stenographer typewriter thing again, because I know that's how you translate Janine to English, but
The feds have said it. Yeah, the feds have said it. The Federal Election Committee has not ever ruled that this was
the committee
was a violation. They looked at it. As a matter of fact, Bradley Smith, the former chairman of the FEC, said this is in no way, shape, or form a crime.
Well, they might not say it's a federal crime, but in the state of New York, you see, New York, because what's it called? States' rights. That's right. States have the ability to prosecute crimes that the feds might pass on as a federal crime because it didn't defraud all voters, perhaps because it was singular to Manhattan and New York and where the candidate lived at the time when he pulled it off, and he wasn't president at the time, that he's literally just doing this to defraud New York voters. And New York has the right to say, we don't give a fuck if you guys want to bullshit, if you're going to let him bullshit your folks, we're not going to let him bullshit our folks. Or you could just have the federal government overrule all local DAs in cities and states across the country. And I would love to hear your case for that, Mr. Small Government.
That the facts presented here, coupled with the laws, don't equate to a crime. Look, again, this government official should not be stretching the laws or should not be taking novel legal theories.
Look, go easy on Joey Peanuts. He's trying not to say pay off a porn star to keep her trap shut, and not that trap, the other quit it.
Beyond their normal means to get people that they think are unpopular or they don't like or have a political animus towards. I mean, one of the prosecutors from that office left that office and
so you should only prosecute people you like. That's a rough one. That's rough.
Decided to write a book in violation of grand jury secrecy laws and the canons of ethics and all those other things. But what
Janine's just Mark Pomerantz.
What he said in that book was, there were so many pearls in that book for President Trump, but one of them was that they despised him so much, he despised him, he would have paid to prosecute Donald Trump. Right. Think about that. We were both prosecutors, Janine. Just think about that statement and those implications. And then here's the kicker.
Yeah, but there are people who would have paid, for example, to prosecute Gotti or prosecute Jeffrey Dahmer or the fucking Unabomber. They would have loved to have been able to make their bones on a major case like that, especially in a case where Trump is involved, because there's so many times he could have gotten busted in the past and people didn't do it. So some DAs are like, I'd love a shot at that motherfucker because I know he's guilty. I've seen the evidence. I don't know why everybody would, ducked out of it before, but I sure as fuck wouldn't. This goes back to like, Tisha James, when they're talking about like, she hates Trump and she ran on hating Trump, and she got elected on running the most like fuck Trump campaign of anybody in the country, which tells you something about how New Yorkers view him in general, and their awareness of what a shitheel he's been the entire time he's been in the fucking city. But ultimately, it doesn't matter if she fucking hates him. If she brings the case and she doesn't have the facts, a guy that wealthy, or at least with those amount of resources, mostly from the RNC, wouldn't be, it'd be nearly impossible to convict him on circumstantial evidence or softball evidence. You'd have to have it. If you're going to swing, you got to be able to connect. And so the idea that it takes somebody, it literally would take somebody who seethes about certain criminals to take them on, because the only reason you get to seething about it in the first place is because you're aggravated that they haven't gotten busted before, because they fucking deserve it.
They hated the man so much that they were looking for a crime.
No. Everywhere they looked, they saw crimes. That's why they hated him. But the idea that he's some sort of like corner grocer, that people just didn't like his accent, or he was the fucking soup Nazi, and they decided to go after this poor little guy, as opposed to this motherfucker's been at this for years. Yes, this is outrageous.
To fit. It's not supposed to be that way in this country.
You're right. It isn't. It's supposed to be that if you've been criming for at least a decade and you're a rich asshole in New York, you should actually have to face those charges at some point so that people can get it on the books. Instead of being able to like bribe your way out of it, or engage yourself in some sort of protection racket with the former fucking mayor / attorney, city attorney, Rudy Giuliani, as a buddy that you can co-crime with so that he covers your ass. That's not supposed to be how it works. It is in New York a lot.
Not supposed to be where you look for a crime to fit a target that you don't like. You're supposed to
You're supposed to look for crimes on people that you really love. I mean, it's important to be suspicious of everyone. Also, they keep using pictures of Trump in his gloves, which I find very odd, and it's got a very OJ feel to it, and I think it's a mistake.
Information that gets brought to your...
It wouldn't be weird if he bought the OJ gloves, or he got them like at an auction. Somebody else, he bought with his charity funds. He bought them at an auction, and he's wearing OJ's gloves.
Attention of a crime, and then you hold responsible those parties that you deem committed this crime. That's not what happened here, and it's not what is happening here. And
right, that's not what happened here. That's not what happened.
And it's unbelievable. And now I got to be honest with you, people on the opposite side of the political spectrum from Donald Trump are coming out saying, what are we doing here?
No. No, they're really not.
We're going to create a breakdown in the rule of law in this country.
If we don't prosecute him. Because if you could be this egregious and not get prosecuted, then there is no system. The rest of us live under a justice system, and there are those among us who do not. That's how you have a failed judicial system. And by the way, if he's convicted with circumstantial evidence that goes nowhere, and they refuse to, show the receipts and blah, 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 and it's a railroad case, and they just, he gets half a day, and they're like, guilty. Sanction your attorney before he says a fucking word. Off to jail. Then you could have a case about Banana Republic and all this stuff. This asshole is going to have all the negotiating runway he could possibly want.
Anarchy. It's horrible that a prosecutor's office is being used as a weapon against a political opponent. And Janine,
wait, is Alan Bragg doing this because he hates Trump, or is he being used and he doesn't really hate Trump? Because if he's, whatever.
What happened today, I assume, the House Judiciary Committee, led by Jim Jordan, sent a very terse, very strong letter.
Oh, no. A letter. What? Which one was it? Was it F or U? That's terrible. It's a very, I was like, tack. What I'm writing right now. Exclamation point. Is it in all caps? No, fuck. Ding. Caps lock.
Bragg's office saying, we want you under oath and we want to understand.
Yeah, he as an officer of the court, he's technically under oath in all of the stuff that he does. You do realize that, right?
Exactly how this political, as they call it, the political prosecution began and when it began. Because according to Alan Bragg, a few months ago, he wouldn't have trusted Michael Cohen for anything. I mean,
and then apparently he saw some paperwork.
He said there was no world in which he could envision bringing a case against Donald Trump.
Why would anyone trust Michael Cohen? The man's been convicted of perjury, lying to
on behalf of Donald Trump.
Congress. He said for years there was never any problem with Donald Trump, and now all of
yeah, that was during the big lying phase. And when he was saying it, he was embarrassingly bad at it.
All of a sudden, there's a problem. But Joe Tacopina, I must tell you, this is making America a banana republic in terms of our justice system, in terms of
You God. Not bananas.
The inequity that's going on. So,
wait a minute. Judge Janine is for equity all of a sudden? Because the opposite of equity is inequity, one would say. I just think that I think it's sad that she throws in CRT right at the end when she's talking to Trump's lawyer. That's just rude.
Stay in touch with us and let us know.
Yeah, if and when you find anything out. Tell us what's happened after other people watch it happen. Joey Peanuts.
What you hear in this and whether or not this will go forward. But your sense is that it will, Joe?
I still hold out hope. I really do, Janine. I hold out hope that some sort of sanity is going to prevail inside of that office. I understand there's a lot of disgruntled employees in the Manhattan DA's office right now.
Yeah.
I'm holding out.
Oh yeah, everybody's mad. Oh, there's a bunch of people who are pissed off. They're so Team Trump. There's a bunch of those people. I mean, they won't come forward. None of them will say it on camera. But truthfully, they're like, he's my dude.
Hope that justice will prevail. And if that happens, then there will be no charge because it's a case that will die on the vine. This will be a.
Then again, I don't know what you're worried about. This is one of those situations where one would think, and I certainly would require my attorney in interviews like this to say things along the lines of, we look forward to our day in court. Know what I mean?
lasting stain on the legacy of that DA's office. So they won't win this case. I promise you that. And you could play this tape back in a year from now. They will not win this case. We will win it on the law. We'll win it on the facts. Wherever we go, we will win this case.
We will win it on the hustings. We will win it in the skies and upon the seas. We will hush this porn star payment up for all times.
All right. Joe Tecopina, thanks so much for...
Joe Tecopina. See, it's just easier to say Joey Peanuts. Joe Tecopina, which sounds like a colon problem, I gotta say. He says he's in the hospital. What happened? He's got something called dotecapina. It's this thing where you have, like, you get a piece of venison stuck in your outer colon, and it works its way up, and it creates diverticulitis that's so big that it creates a parallel intestine. That's where the dotecapina, it goes off into the other parts or whatever, and then it produces peanuts that show up in your poop as liver fat. I'm so glad we have box wine. We need to be talking about Lance Reddick. His passing, you mean? Demon Lemur Nick? Mercury your calendar? What? What about him in particular? That he passed away? Pourquoi? I mean, I know people who worked with him and think, you know, I'm just so distraught. I see. Yes, he was a very talented guy. It's very sad. I know people who've worked with him. A friend of mine directed him on a couple of episodes, I think on Blacklist. And then, yeah, just a super talented guy. Loved him in the John Wick movies. What a sad passing. I completely agree. Fringe, right? But yes. And also, what does Mercury your calendar mean, Trisha? Does that mean lube it up or something? I don't know. Hold on.
I've been very interested.
Oh, boy. Well, one of us, many of us, if I may continue, by the way, back to topics. Yes, back to the show. Thank you. Absolutely. But excellent of you to bring it up. I don't mind that at all. Lance Reddick was a wonderful person by all counts. I never got a chance to meet him, but everybody that I've spoken to who knew him loved him, thought he was wonderful and talented, and there you go. Period. End of story. This is also like the bifurcation we went off into a couple of days ago. Never mind. We'll get into another stuff. We'll get into other stuff on the morning show. That's what it's for. Tomorrow morning, we'll talk about more of that stuff. And well, let's see. First of all, who knows better what's going on? At the heart of this case, obviously Trump's attorney doesn't know shit about it, and clearly Judge Jeanine doesn't know how courts work. So we've got to turn to a man who knows things better than the judges, knows more than the lawyers, and who always uses the same facial shot for every one of these Agenda 47 videos. This is President Trump's plan. Look at this. This is one of those, like, when you write a book. Agenda 47, President Trump's plan to dismantle the deep state and return power to the American people. Forward by Candace Owens. It's just like, it's like a shitty book, like ebook. It's mostly cocktail napkin drawings that someone else did that Trump stole. Super fun. All right, here we go. This is, the one good thing about Trump's little Rumble videos is he never puts ads on them because they are ads. All right. Dismantle the deep state and reclaim our government. Okay.
Here's my plan to dismantle the deep state and reclaim our democracy from Washington corruption.
Okay, shit. Let me get it. Okay, hold on. Oh, shit, I dropped my pen. Hold on, I gotta put this on. Give me a second. I'm gonna write this down. Okay. Okay. Put that one there. Dismantle deep state. Put that there. Okay. There we go. All right. Now. Go. All right. Now I'm ready. I just have to. It's going to be quick. So.
Once and for all.
Oh, shit. Once and for all. Yeah, because I guess he did it several times during his presidency, but they kept coming back, kind of like It's a weird skin infection.
And corruption it is.
It is
First-
the one thing it is corruption of the size. Corruption.
I will immediately reissue my 2020 executive order restoring the president's authority to remove rogue bureaucrats, and I will wield that power very aggressively.
Okay, so aggressive executive orders over deep state somebody's 2020 thing. Sorry, I had to write the kidney.
Second, we will clean out all of the corrupt actors in our national security and intelligence apparatus, and there are plenty of them.
All right, clean out the actors. I see. How about singer-songwriters? Sorry. No on the singer-songwriters. We're going to clean out all the actors. I take this very personally, by the way, as a obviously Soros-funded CIA front actor, comedian. Now I got to start over. Get out all the actors. Okay.
The departments and agencies that have been weaponized will be completely overhauled.
They got a big overhaul, cleaning and overhaul. They're going to get. So, do you want your rims done as well? Ooh. Do you want your, okay, we'll just do windows and glass, and cover the dashboard and all that kind of stuff. We can put some armor all on that as well. What air freshener do you want? New car smell. I'm just going to jump right in and say new car smell for that overhaul. That's fantastic. And we have a special this week on waxing and detailing. If you want, that interests you. No waxing then. Okay, all right. Well, just the standard. It's worth it. Okay, cool.
So that faceless bureaucrats will never again be able to target and persecute conservatives.
Well, I would say that people with no face would have a very hard time targeting because the eyes are there. The ears are, I believe, part of the face. They're attached to it. They, in essence, shape the face. Yeah, it's very hard to target anything if you have no face.
Christians or the left's political enemies, which they're doing now at a level that nobody can believe. Even possible.
Nope. Yes, nobody can believe it's even possible because apparently it's being done in total secret and it's invisible. Okay, so stop the things that nobody can believe are happening at such a level at all because they don't see it. Gotcha. Okay, that should be easy, especially when you're cuffing people who have no face, because it's not who have no face, because I don't think they can run away. They'll just bump into walls.
Third, we will totally reform FISA courts, which are so corrupt that the judges seemingly do not care when they are lied to in warrant applications. So many judges have seen so many applications that they know were wrong. At least they must have known.
Know we're wrong or must have known. Pass. I'm just going to put a big question mark because I don't know what the fuck that sentence means. And we'll just leave it at that. We'll fill that in later. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's the Pfizer courts. I don't know why Moderna gets off easy. We'll find out.
They do nothing about it. They're lied to.
Well, they didn't know. They must have known, but they did not know, and if they couldn't have known, they can't have known.
Fourth, to expose the hoaxes.
Whoa, that was obviously an edit had to happen. Okay, fourth. Go.
And abuses of power that have been tearing our country apart. We will establish a Truth and Reconciliation Commission to declassify and publish all documents on deep state spying, censorship, and corruption.
That's okay. So all deep state spying on censorship and corruption, and there's been a lot of it. There's so much of it you don't even know.
And there are plenty of them.
Yes, there are plenty. There are lots of things, and it should be easy to find. I mean, he couldn't find it in the first 4 years he was there, but you know what do you expect?
Fifth, we will launch a major crackdown on government leakers who collude with the fake news to deliberately weave false narratives and to subvert our government and our democracy.
Wow, that's going to be hard. Okay, so leakers, which we know you can't leak a lie because you can lie, but it's not a leak because you're not actually letting out real information. It's only a leak if it's true, right? You can only, that's one of our earliest Sparksisms on the show for those keeping score was you can't leak a lie. So the leakers give it to the fake news, who presumably, because the leak is true, wouldn't even post it anyways. All right, yeah.
When possible, we will press criminal charges.
Well, I think criminal charges should only be possible when a crime has been committed. So you'll do part of your job, in theory.
Sixth, we will make every inspector general's office independent and physically separated from the departments they oversee.
I see. So they'll have to move away so that they won't hear people in your administration whispering crimes to each other because they'll be across the street. Great. Okay. So you're going to take the inspector generals and you're going to keep them from inspecting in general by being in the office. Genius. So, yeah.
So they do not become the protectors of the deep state.
Yeah, I guess you can't protect something you haven't seen. Oh, wait. So remember the IG was his problem, like Vindman was his problem because he was somebody in the inspector general's office got the information that he was trying to manipulate Zelensky. And I'm sorry, I tried to make sense of this for a minute. Just don't even know why I'm even bothering.
Seventh, I will ask Congress to establish an independent auditing system to continually monitor our intelligence agencies to ensure they are not spying on our citizens or running disinformation campaigns against the American people, or that they are not spying on someone's campaign like they spied on my campaign.
I see. Why don't you just use the Kremlin? They are an independent group that spies on our spies. So, I mean, you guys, look, do you believe that the U.S. government can do stuff? Or do you think it should be handled by a private industry, or a gang like Russia? I'm just saying. Okay, so hire the Kremlin to spy on our spies. Okay.
Eighth, we will continue the
top 10
effort launched by the Trump administration.
Who? No, I'm sorry. I don't know who he's referring to
move parts of the sprawling federal bureaucracy to new locations outside the Washington swamp.
Right. So everybody's on a different time zone. Brilliant. Okay. So move FEMA to a tornado alley. Okay. Great. Move the EPA close to a cancer cluster in Louisiana. And we're going to move the Department of Defense to Guam. Let's just put them on Guam. Yeah.
Just as I moved the Bureau of Land Management to Colorado, as many as 100,000 government positions could be moved out, and I mean immediately.
Well, not immediately, because people do these jobs. They work for a living, and you'd have to hire new people or who can't move. Fuck it. Who cares about the people who do the job, right? You run the place. No. Sorry, I shouldn't have interrupted you. So, fuck everyone with a job except Marjorie Taylor Greene. Okay, cool. Gotcha.
Of Washington to places filled with patriots who love America. And
right. So blue states where there are a lot of Biden voters who didn't attack the Capitol. Okay, so move them to patriotic liberal cities. Gotcha. All right.
They really do love America.
Do they?
Ninth, I will work to ban federal bureaucrats from taking jobs at the companies they deal with and that they regulate. So they deal with these companies and they regulate.
And they regulate them?
These companies and then.
Oh, so you're going to stop them from getting jobs with people they deal and regulate? You mean, so you're saying people in the intelligence community rather, and the FBI can get jobs at Twitter then? Okay.
They want to take jobs from these companies.
I see. So they can't take jobs from like law enforcement jobs. They can't obviously. Okay, the FBI can't go work at, I don't know, for the NRA or some shit because they sell guns to the police and that kind of stuff, and they might have a right. So they might have so they can't go work for that, but they can go work for Twitter or Facebook because they don't actually regulate any of those things. Okay, so everybody at the CIA, free job at Twitter. Gotcha.
Doesn't work that way.
You're right. Sorry, that was my bad. You're right. It doesn't work that way at all. I don't even know why I wrote it down. All right.
Public display cannot go on, and it's taking place all the time, like with Big Pharma.
A public display that can't go on, and say that again? I'm sorry. I should have been writing this down.
Bureaucrats from taking jobs at the companies they deal with.
Right.
And that they regulate. So they deal with these companies and they regulate these companies.
Got it,
and then they want to take jobs from these companies.
I see. So what you're saying is that they shouldn't take jobs from companies they deal with and regulate. If they deal with and regulate them, then they want to take jobs from them. They should be able to take jobs from people they deal with and regulate. Okay. So let me write down, fuck you. All right, there we go. All right.
Work that way. Such a public display cannot go on, and it's taking place all the time, like with Big Pharma.
I see. So they should only get those jobs in secret. Okay, so if somebody who is working in the government to deal with and or regulate a company gets a job with that company, there should be no public notification of it. No public. Was that Jared's idea? It probably was Jared's idea. No public notification if someone moves to the industry they were regulating. Also, Jared's idea, super smart, absolutely, probably an Android. Also, Android. Yeah, that's right. I'm sorry. Fuck it. I'll just write C3PO. All right, we know who we're talking about.
Finally, I will push a constitutional amendment
right out of my butt
to impose term limits on members of Congress.
Specific ones. Jim Jordan comes to mind. Chuck Grassley. What did I do? Yes, I only want young, hot Congress people. And they should only have 12-year-old pages. That was from Matt Gaetz. I don't know why that came in. Okay. Term limits on everybody but the president.
I will shatter the deep state and...
Yeah, the deep state isn't elected officials. I'm just saying, technically speaking, if you have to get reelected, you're not the deep state. As a matter of fact, you're the opposite of the deep state. In Jim Jordan's case, you're the shallowest state there is. Yeah. Shallow state. Somebody else is recording this so that I can just transcribe it later, because this is gold. Well, it's iron sulfide.
Government that is controlled by the people and for the people.
Which people would that be? The deep state, right? Sorry, controlled. Will all be controlled by the deep state. Yeah, I think that's what he said. All right.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Okay. Well, I don't even know where I'm writing that down. Okay. Well, all right. That will be available to everyone in your study guides. And I think we all grew a little bit during that piece. It's nice to do a show where afterwards I know I can just kind of dive in and go through my notes and relive the sweet, sweet moments we all enjoyed together. For the record, Trump is an inserious asshole. And speaking of inserious assholes, if I may, who is more foolish? The fool or the fool who follows him? It's one of the great questions of life. In this case, hard to tell. It's kind of a tie. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Greg Kelly, the most miserable man on the internet, a longtime devotee of Donald Trump, who is trapped in the feels, folks. He's got the FEELZs super bad. The Trump witch hunts continue. Greg Kelly, it breaks my heart. My achy, breaky heart. Which was a cover tune, by the way. I don't know if a lot of people know that. Not by Greg Kelly. I've never seen his achy, breaky heart cover, but I'm sure it's magic. This is, and by the way, you're watching HAL, SPARKS, Mega Worldwide, and I appreciate it. I'm just saying, hi, chat room. Look at you guys. Look at you. Wonderful, 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 wonderful. And again, most wonderful people in here in this chat. Oh my God, you guys are going by so fast. Hey, let's jump to this guy right here. Ladies and gentlemen. Oh,
it breaks my heart.
It does. I'm with you, Greg. It's gotta be. It breaks my... That wasn't my heart. It rhymes, but...
How do you feel?
I feel I'm okay. I'm holding it together. I don't know if I'll be able to do it. It's really difficult. You gotta get me through, Greg. How are we going to survive this? If Donald Trump can't pay off a porn star to keep his campaign from tanking, what chance do we all have, Greg? We're all doomed to ride the bus with you.
This is horrifying.
It's horrifying. It's terrible that he might actually have to show up and have a hearing and then be released on bail or bond or his own recognizance and pay a fine in a couple of years. It's like pissant chump change money for a real billionaire, which he isn't, but still.
This is insane.
It's crazy. It's dark. It's terrible.
I'm worried. I'm worried for
Yes, we know.
For him. I'm worried for us. I'm worried for the country.
Yeah, in general. Well, I appreciate your worry. As part of the country, I feel bad. I don't want you to worry, Greg. I'm going to be okay. I'm all right. Yeah, we're all going to be fine. Okay? I just feel like we're burdening you.
God save President Trump.
Oh. Well, he is, Greg. Greg, he is. God is attempting to save him by putting him in a position where he might finally recognize he's gone too far, recognizes he is sinful and has sinned in the past, and will at some point take an honest look at his everlasting life after he shuffles off this mortal coil, as all good Christians are wont to do. And sometimes the Lord's got to take you to the bottom so that you can appreciate the top there, Greggy. Sometimes the Lord's got to, right now, there's only one pair of footsteps on that beach in West Palm right now, and that's because Jesus is carrying Donald Trump. And it hurts his back, honestly. This is a man who can walk on water, so clearly beyond the laws of physics, and yet still, lay off the fish delights.
I didn't know what else to say,
Good. I would just call it then. 19 seconds in, yeah, we're done. Thanks, Greg. Great work today. You sold me. I'm worried too. We're all gonna. Everybody, chat room. Are you guys worried? Please let me know the degree of worry. Scale of 1 to none. Oh, the chat quit for a minute. Oh, it's overdosed on it. It happens or whatever. Yeah, are you worried? You seem worried. Should I be worried? Greg seems to think I should be worried. And I'm looking for it. Like, you're like, is that, no, I'm okay. It's just like, you're like, am I worried or is that gas? I feel like it's neither. Yeah, no worries. You're -0. Okay, 0 worried. Okay, that's good. That's good. We should all write a letter to Greg and let him know, because I'm worried that his worry will start to worry us after a while. I'm honestly not going back to that clip because fuck him. I have no idea why you or I or anybody should give a shit what he's worried about. Now, where is it? Okay, so we do need... We've run aground, I think, and I feel bad as your beloved host. And if you do like the show, like, subscribe, give a thumbs up, super chat, Venmo. It's a great time to just be a whale and help us out. I had $3,000 worth of cat bills last month. It's rough. You're like, cat or computer? Cat or computer? Cat. That's how my life has been lately. Oops, stay where you are. Sorry, what'd you say, Chud? She's fine. All right, so I feel like I've let you down today, folks. I really do. I brought on Trump's attorney. He didn't know shit. We brought on Trump, and even his 10-point plan isn't going to help us. We're doomed. And then Greg Kelly's just basically given up. He's given in. I don't think he gives up. Give up is an actual Christian term. It comes from a biblical belief that you give up. Just release it to God. Release your problems. Say, I give up. I give up, as opposed to give in or surrender, that kind of thing. There's a lot of those mixed use words, but give up in particular is meant to be a relatively positive thing. You're going to trust God to take care of it, and that's the give up part, as opposed to tapping out, which is more likely what Trump does all the time. So anyways, Chud is a charming old lady, and she will be with us for a long time. And we had cleaners here today because we have a big family get together that's coming because Summer's son is graduating from college. Dear Lord, and the whole family's coming here to celebrate, and so we had to get the house a good once over. So they were here today, and all the cats were like hiding in closets and running away and getting all nervous and sitting in windowsills behind the curtains. You know what I mean? Where you're like trying to find them, like hoping they didn't escape. Meanwhile, Chud is literally watching these people walk around the house, going, "Ow, what's up? How you doing? You good? I'm gonna go poop. You wanna go poop with me? Come on, let's go poop. You're not coming? All right, I'll call. You know what? I might need to lift up the steps. If the dude who normally gives me a lift up the steps is busy yapping like he does for a living, could you mind? Sorry, ironically, as a California cat, I don't speak Spanish, but you get it. You get what I'm saying. Okay, I'll be back. That's effectively what Chud's afternoon was. I'll just describe my behavior when people come over. I don't doubt it. All right, so we need somebody to tell us what the shit is going on. And I think I found just that person. I've got an inside scoop, and it's not from the guy who looks like an aged version of the dad from 101 Dalmatians, the original Disney cartoon, or third runner-up in the Karen of the Year competition, standing in front of a hazy blue overcast day in the Big Apple, in the Big Pomegranate. It's Dick Morris, ladies and gentlemen. Dick Morris comes on to tell us this is what Trump told me. The Harvey Fierstein of Trump's inner circle is here to tell us what was said, what Trump believes. It is entirely possible that Dick Morris has had more of a conversation with Trump than his attorneys have, than Joey Peanuts or Sam Lucky or whatever the fuck that other guy's name is. All right, here we go.
On high alert as the indictment of former President Trump looms.
Yes, it's high alert. They're air raid sirens in New York today. Because, it's not really, it's more of like a blimp warning, but you get it.
Barricades are set up at locations in Manhattan to prepare for potential protests. Now, it's still unclear when or if charges will be announced against the former president.
Yeah, although the former president predicted that he would be arrested today, reports indicate that if it does happen. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Keep talking. Oi, I gotta. All right,
It could be next week, and we are joined now by Dick Morris with his thoughts.
Hello, I'm in a hotel room, waiting patiently.
Dick, great to be with you as always.
And why are you in a hotel room? We're all very weirded out.
To have you with us. Your take is this.
He won't let you stay at Mar-a-Lago, will he? Still won't do it. You can call him on the phone, but he won't let you stay the night. I don't know why. I would take that shit if I was you, Dick.
Is indictment going to happen, or is this a whole lot of nothing?
Both and neither.
Well, wait.
Oh, hype train. Thank you, Twitch. Twitch.tv/HalSparks. Hype train. Thanks, guys.
Happened just an insight into the legal process.
Yeah.
Is that it is not a crime for Trump to have an affair with Stormy Daniels.
Yes, we know that. It's just gross.
Not an affair crime to pay hush money. No.
Right. So you're saying he didn't pay to keep her quiet. He actually had to pay for the sex? All right. Well,
not a crime to have a non-disclosure agreement. The only crime is if the
only crime is not telling us what happened to your finger and thinking we're not going to notice.
Disclosure agreement was designed to cover up another crime.
Did he slam the gate at Mar-a-Lago on your hand?
Then that becomes a felony. And if not, it's just a misdemeanor. That's more than 2 years since it happened. The statute of limitations lapsed and everybody goes home.
Right. But then I guess we'll find that out when they go after discovery and find out whether or not he's paid other people to keep their mouths shut and whether this was campaign related or personal. And the only way we'll know that is for him to disclose under oath whether he's done this before, how much it cost him, and under what circumstances he paid them out, because his attorney is a fucking moron and walked into that rake earlier this evening. You're welcome.
But if Bragg says that this was done in commission of another crime, then he has the basis to indict and to...
Yeah, we know that part. Yeah, well, I'm sorry. He's not talking to us. He's talking to the Newsmax audience, who apparently right now have their head in a fish tank trying to chew the ivermectin out, or the hydroxychloroquine out of the filter.
Right. Trump. Now, Costello, who was Cohen's lawyer back when Cohen
was committing crimes,
and Trump were okay with each other.
So you get the idea that his judgment might be quite... So the Trump's fixer's lawyer who threatened people on the air... Please go on.
Said that Cajon told him that he...
Cajon? Manuel Cajon? The great barrister from Mexico City? Manuel Cajon is a beast. No one could stand against him. The prosecutors don't have a chance. He rolls in there with his guitar case and his cool mariachi jacket, and he looks sexy, I swear to God. It's why I put my hair in a ponytail, because I want to be more like El Cajon.
He did this hush money stuff on his own.
Yeah, that's his defense. The facts seem to say otherwise.
He wanted...
Alec Murdoch said he wasn't even at the house. See how this works?
To kind of make a present of this to Donald and to get him out of jeopardy, and he knew Trump would reimburse him, and that this not only...
Well, then it's not a present. You don't get reimbursed for presents. Boy, all right. They're just going to be this dumb. That's how this shit. Dummy, don't say that part. You have to say the payments for other shit entirely. His attorney tried that. It was just expensive other shit. It was exactly that plus 10%. But whatever. You can't say reimburse. You don't reimburse for presents. Stupid.
It wasn't to conceal another crime. It wasn't even on Trump's instructions.
Yeah, it was it was neighborly. That's what it was. He was just being, he's just that kind of sweet guy. He's cheap as fuck with his own kids. But if Michael Cohen pays a porn star to keep his mouth, that's, oh man, you shouldn't have. No, let me get this one. Tell you what, here, you know what? I'm going to write you a check. The next time you have to get a porn star to shut their fucking mouth, you give them this, okay? From me to you. I'm taking care of that part, And
he told the grand jury that yesterday. And they were on a glide path to indict Trump. But then when he said that, they had to hold up and recalculate. And whether the recalculation will result in them not indicting Trump,
or if they indict Costello as well for lying,
or just delaying it for a few days or a week, we just don't know.
Do you think...
Who's in the room with you? Dick, if Trump is in the room with you right now, fart twice. You know what? Don't, actually. They've only got you mic'd in front.
I think that the former president...
Do you see him just go, who's waiting? Who just came out of the bathroom, Dick? Why won't you tell us? What's going on?
The president actually does want a scene, because he had seemed to encourage people to get out there on his behalf.
Yeah, he wants a scene. That's what he wants. He doesn't want more violence like he basically masturbated to on January 6th. He wants a scene. He He wants dancing in the street, calling out around the world.
Wanted to get your thoughts on that because I know you talk to him frequently. Does he want to create a scene where there are people out?
Yeah, it's a happening, man. It's a groovy scene. He wants to start something that's like the new shit, right? He just wants, like, man, this is the kind of scene we've all been hoping for, man.
There on his behalf, or does he want to step back from that?
Please
Yeah, well, you got to start the scene, then you can't be seen as part of the scene because that's uncool, man.
disregard my phone. No, he absolutely does not. There was a moment when it turned out that he would be indicted and arrested when he reacted emotionally and had a tweet that said protest, protest, protest. But since then, he hasn't said any of that.
First of all, he didn't tweet. I think you mean Truth Social. Hold on. So, so far he hasn't said anything since he said protest, 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 except for you might have age spots. Moles and skin, block. Multiple prosecutors, blah, blah, blah. Soros, okay, Ronnie Jackson. Trump died abuse of power. Here he is touching the... Trump unfailingly delivered for Jewish pro-Israel community. He's just like, just don't let me get indicted, God, or I'm taking it all back. I will move the embassy to Qatar. I am not even lying. The Real Americans. Boy, he's like retweeting all this stuff. Way to go, Chris. Just like the old days. Whatever. Reports are almost everybody says, even the in-depth study review. There's no crime, no affair, no bookkeeping error, misdemeanor, no nothing other than now proven lies by Michael Cohen, convicted felon, perjurer, and the strong likelihood of extortion plot against me. So after being crushed yesterday by Cohen's... Okay, whatever. What? New York Young Republicans Club? He's just posting the logo. I don't see a page. Oh, this is the page 1, page 2. Disgraceful. He doesn't realize these come out in reverse order because the timeline goes up. But people scroll down. That's one of the design mistakes that happens with Twitter and all these other sites, is that they should scroll the other direction. Start at the bottom with the most recent stuff. Or whatever. Who represented clients other than me? Yes, including Sean Hannity, actually. And nothing to do with the outside business. Oh, hype train, right on. Let's see. In history of deception, he's lying, he lies. Is this the same video we watched before?
These 4 horrible, radical left Democrat investigations of...
They got coming after me and it sucks.
Your all-time favorite president, me, is just a continuation of the most disgusting witch hunt in the history.
Yeah, we saw this one. Witch hunt, witch hunt, witch hunt. And the thing that all these people like me. Look at all these people saying nice things about me.
Never forget, everything this corrupt establishment is doing to me is all about preserving their power.
Jesus Christ, that's loud. Secondly, he put this video together.
And control over the American people. If I renounced my beliefs, which I won't do, if I agreed to stay silent, if I stayed at home,
You don't have a home. You live at a golf course that you rent out to other people.
Said that a corrupt election was wonderful, the persecution would stop immediately.
No, it's first of all, it's not persecution, and you don't get to just not get convicted of crimes because you shut up. Yeah, as a matter of fact, and this might come in handy later, I don't know if you know this, but you have the right to remain silent. Sorry. So dumb. Here we go.
And he knows that this is going to work to his benefit.
Yeah, he can't wait. He's super excited. That's why he wanted to fly in today. And they're like, nah, we'll probably have to do it Wednesday. He's like, but I picked out a shirt already.
This is going to sink the Democrats in their own juice.
That's not nasty.
And he knows that if there is any...
I have, for the record, I'll have you know, I have never sank in my own juice. Not that it doesn't sound all that bad.
Protest. And then the left sends in agitators to make it violent, which they...
Oh, I see. So this is the whole thing that, like, if maggots show up and beat up a cop, it's going to be because Antifa made them by going, psst, you should be hitting that cop. And you're like, you're right. What have you done to Trump? That black feller in the balaclava we're carrying the Antifa flag, but cleverly wearing a MAGA hat, told me you were the bad guy. What are you doing, bad Lisa? I'm back you. Why won't you back Trump?
Can do easily. That could backfire and give the Democrats talking points. I was on my radio show the other day.
How would it backfire and give the Democrats talking points if it's proven that Trump supporters didn't do this? One would think. I'm beginning to think this entire conversation goes back to their bullshit story about January 6th, where they're trying to cover their ass. I don't know where I got that idea.
Called in and said, I'm just going to go out my doors and stand peacefully on the corner with the sign. I said, for God's sakes, don't do that. You'll be peaceful. But then a car shows up with 4 thugs, and they get out and they take your sign, they yell at you, and other people gather, and before you know it,
you're all oiled up, and somebody's got, is a ball gag, and it just turns into a thing, and you don't have time for a relationship.
There's been a violent confrontation, and nobody's...
Oh, I'm sorry, I went somewhere totally different. I don't know why.
...can sort out who's at fault. So Trump really wants everybody to...
Yeah, they got to show up. They're going to tear your side out of your hands. They're going to beat the shit out of you. And then they're going to film the whole thing. And then nobody will know who's to blame.
They own. And not to come out and do this because we've got huge political gains coming from this stupid indictment.
Yeah, it's fabulous. This is like better than the Mar-a-Lago search and seizure warrant that was dutifully gotten and peacefully carried out. I mean, look at the launch of his presidential campaign. You think you have a launch that big without something like the Mar-a-Lago search and seizure warrant that was dutifully gotten legally?
Particularly if it's dismissed, which it certainly will be.
Yeah. So I don't even know what you're worried about. Like, show up and go, dismiss this, you bastard, and then just sit there and then do kind of Babe Ruth, Ty Cobb, and so on.
Either a trial or when the judge gets a hold of it.
There's a trial. The judge is at the trial, right? I'm just trying to get the timeline right.
And to go ahead and clear that and screw that up.
Come again?
Up by having a riot or a demonstration so the Democrats can talk on endlessly about January 6th would be just...
Is he suggesting that the maggots would show up and say, we're here, we're queer, get used to it?
It's terrible. It would mean that Trump's sacrifice was in vain.
His sacrifice, the things he gave up for this country, not renewing a television show that was probably going away. I don't know how we can thank him. I know, jail.
So I want to plead with all of your viewers.
Yes, I want to plead to all your viewers. My hotel room is 214B, and...
Do not protest.
No, don't protest. Applaud. Once Trump is arrested, stand out there and go, yeah! Because if you say anything negative, it's playing into their hands. So you should, if you're going to show up, you should cheer the indictment. Boo Trump. Yell, fuck you, Trump at him and stuff, because that will confuse them.
Protest over the dining room table or the kitchen table.
Yes, irritate your family, but leave the rest of us out of it.
But don't go outside. Don't go out.
No, don't. Whatever you do, please don't go outside.
With the sign.
And if you do, take a sweater. It's chilly.
Just trust us. We're going to win this damn election. We're going to replace Joe Biden with Donald Trump.
Okay, yeah, just trust. You know what? You don't even have to vote. We got it locked, kids. Just stay home. You're fine.
Let the electoral process do what it
Yeah, just do what it does. When you do what you do, when you feel like you did to me.
it's going to do, which was been heavily facilitated by Alvin Bragg's outrageous indictment.
Yeah, Dick, that's a great point. I mean, let your voice.
Yeah, it's such a great point. Trump didn't mean protest, protest, protest. Whenever he says something 3 times, he's just saying something into a bathroom mirror, expecting protesters to appear behind him.
Voice be heard in the ballot box when you vote, or
Yeah, but until then, shut the fuck up. Thanks, Dick.
even on social.
Yes, that's right, maggots. That's the message from Dick Morris and Donald Trump. Until it's time to vote, shut the fuck up. Don't say a word. Keep home and just stay there and yell at your family.
Media, if you have to say something now, but I appreciate your insight there. And
Yeah, only protest on social media, especially if you aren't a real American and you've got an American flag, bald eagle, or Biden with dementia picture as your avatar, and some Hunter Biden nonsense as your bio. That's fine. But if they know who you are, they're gonna get you. So I would rather. I think you should just stick to anonymous accounts because we all take those very seriously.
as Bob pointed out, you do speak to the former president on a regular basis.
Define regular.
How is he
3 times a day. It's when he makes his phone calls.
feeling? Because it does seem like this is a man.
What's he going through? Yeah, tell us his emotional state. This poor fellow. This, he's surrounded by opulence and he's on his 3rd wife, and apparently she doesn't give a fuck if he's surrounded by $1,500 a night hookers all day long at Mar-a-Lago with these golfing assholes that he hangs out with. But it's gotta, after a while, it's gotta. There comes a time when gold loses its luster, where the diamonds cease to sparkle, and all that's left is a father's desire to fuck his daughter.
Man who has been tried to be pushed out of office before he was even inaugurated. And all of these attacks, he describes them as a witch hunt.
Right, yes. We know. He also says hoax. Those are his 2 phrases. It's not our fault he has a limited vocabulary.
They continue. So how is his morale, I'm going to say, at this time?
He's heartbroken. Ask Greg Kelly.
Sometimes he feels battered because he obviously is.
Yes, he's a battered. He's like America is his partner. He is sworn to love them till death do us part, in sickness and in health. But sometimes America comes home drunk, and it's just hard,
But that passes quickly.
Yeah. He doesn't hang on to human emotions. Yeah, because if you hang on to that feeling of something going wrong, you have to question how it happened, and eventually you might come around to realizing it's your own fault, and we can't have that.
He basically feels empowered and enabled.
He
feels that the negatives are fuel for him.
Yeah. He hates when things are going well.
They pout. They charge his batteries.
So it's that's the thing that gets him up in the morning. The sense of perpetual vengeance. It's so much better than being proud of what you've done and actually seeking to live a life of worth and service and creativity and talent and importance. It's better to just wake up in a rage that you're going to get those people today and then fail and try again tomorrow.
Get him moving.
He's the Sisyphus of grudges.
He first says, "Oh my God, look at how horrible this is. We've become a banana republic. We're not a democracy anymore. This isn't the country that I was president of."
And then he goes, "Wait a minute. The guys who run banana republics get all the chicks. They get to kill whoever they want. I want to be president again. Now that we're a banana republic, this sounds like fun."
Oh my God, what's happening? And then 5 minutes later, he's saying, "These SOBs are doing this to me. They'll do it to anybody. They can destroy this country, and I'm not going to let them do it." And he gets energized, and he really goes at it.
And then 5 minutes later, he's back to thinking, like, why do they come after me? It's terrible. So he just vacillates between, you know, like rage and pity, rage and pity, rage. It's really great. It's like an emotional exercise program that doesn't actually result in any health.
So it's a human reaction, but eventually it becomes a very straight.
Well, it's 20% of a human reaction. He's left out the other 80% of human reaction that we all have that might involve some introspection and self-awareness. That would be part of, because animals can vacillate between rage and pity, it would seem.
One. He will emerge in this process psychologically and politically much stronger.
Yeah, keep telling him that, because I'm sure it makes him feel a lot better as he's chucking ketchup at you, Dick.
All right, Dick Morris, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I learned a lot. We gotta look under the hood at what was going on, and you know, the important thing is that we all shut the fuck up. That the important thing is that we don't. It's not all poor pitiful Trump today. I
want to talk about
I don't care what you want to talk about. Hold on one second. All right, some stuff. We don't have to talk all about the impending indictment. That's not the only thing that's hinky in Trump world right now. Something else is funky right now. Something else is a going on. Something else is you know, there's some fiddling going on underneath the covers. There's that somebody is trying to Dutch oven American patriots. Yeah, oh, that one's too loud. I'm sorry. I will bring it down a little bit, if I may. I already brought the audio down, and it's still loud. Okay, sorry. Remember the January 6th footage? Remember when that was going to change everything? Remember that? When Kevin McCarthy gave 46,000 hours to Tucker Carlson, and he was like, "Ah, Shazam! I'm going to edit some of this shit together. There's no time code. You don't know what the fuck happened or when this is going on, but there's more of this. There's more where that came from, and then suddenly, it's gone. Suddenly, Tucker's not talking about the Jan 6 footage anymore. It's not a thing. That was one of the quickest, deadest talking points fucking ever. Now, he might be preparing a long-form edited bullshit video, but the minute it looked like the lawsuit from the Washington Post and the New York Times would go forward, and it will, Tucker all of a sudden stopped producing chunks of video. And it would seem that he was concerned that eventually, legally, he has no right to this without somebody else, that because Kevin McCarthy gave it to him instead of him getting it, whistleblower style, like any kind of, secret government document that shows, pictures from Abu Ghraib or something, where they have a proprietary right to showing them, and then everybody else has to credit them to do it. This is the people's footage given to him by a government representative out in the open, which means he's got to give it to everybody else. And once that happened, it seems like he lost interest in putting his little cut-togethers up and just moved the fuck on. Isn't that weird? 46,000 hours. We got what was in the first video we looked at, there was like 60 seconds, maybe, of repeating footage, cut out of order, no timestamp, none of that stuff. But, I have my obvious beliefs about what happened with that footage, and I think he's worried about it, somebody else getting the footage and making a big show of what a manipulative, propagandistic asshole he is. But, the mess has a different theory. Here's why Dinesh thinks Tucker Carlson stopped airing the Jan 6 footage. I'm curious, you're curious, everybody's curious. Let's find out.
I want to talk about
by the way, that little bell at the beginning is just such a stupid idea. Like, it's like a hear ye thing I think he was going for, but he's always talking over it when it happens because it's triggered by the graphics. It's just lame.
The mystery of the January 6 footage.
Hey, Scoob.
But I want to put it in a broader context.
Well, yeah, if you get specific, then you'll fuck the whole thing up because you don't do details well.
of what's going on with Fox News.
Yeah.
And specifically what's going on with Fox News regarding this January 6th video.
Right. These videos, the whole video of all 46,000 hours, I think that deserves a plural. Probably George Soros. You're right. Andy Symptom. I'm going to go with George Soros had something to do. He probably paid off Lachlan Murdoch. Lachlan.
You remember that Kevin McCarthy gave the video. Now, Kevin McCarthy says, I didn't really give the video. I made it available. Well, okay.
Did he make that distinction without a difference? Did he bother? He probably did. He's that big an asshole. Please continue.
Okay, he made it available to Tucker Carlson. And
yes, he didn't give it to Tucker Carlson. He only made it available to Tucker Carlson. Great, thanks. Important detail.
I think the expectation was not just of Kevin McCarthy, but a lot of people who had pushed Kevin McCarthy to release this video. They wanted to see a lot of the stuff that was held back by the January 6th committee. Let's remember the January 6th committee put out a thoroughly cherry-picked narrative.
Yes, unlike the Tucker Carlson stuff, which, by the way, borrows footage that the New Yorker posted.
So all the videos showing stuff that goes against the January 6th committee was not released. They just...
No. There was not exculpatory, if that's what you're looking for. The footage of someone walking between episodes of beating a cop does not get the person off the hook if you don't show the part where they stepped over a cop to get up the steps and then beat another one when they get up there. It's just a picture of someone walking the steps. They were basically tourists.
And in fact, if you look further at what happened with the January 6th committee, Liz Cheney even blocked the subcommittees that were looking at things like intelligence failures, the refusal to act on proper intelligence, the capital.
Oh, right. The idea that Nancy Pelosi and everybody there should have known that Trump supporters are violent psychopaths.
The police knew things, but they didn't.
They knew Trump was going to. Oh no, they didn't. He took that part out of his speech.
Do anything about them, and Liz Cheney was like, "Don't release any of this." Why? Because we've just got to make Trump the sole and exclusive villain. So you can see the kind of propaganda.
Hi. Oh, yeah. Thanks. Look at this. Yeah, I appreciate it. This is how lovely my girlfriend is. She picked up the exact drink that I already have. So we're going all night. It's going to be a 9-hour live stream. 6 espressos. I've like sipped that 3 times. I haven't even touched it. That's how I've lowered my caffeine intake, is that I get espresso and then I just sip it. Love you. Thank you. And that's sweet. What? Excuse me. Sorry, I had to get smoochy for a moment. Now, where were we? Oh, God.
Propaganda that committee ultimately, it became a propaganda factory.
Unlike Tucker Carlson. Please continue.
Now, there is new information coming out on January 6th, but it's not coming out from Tucker or from Fox News.
Oh, dear. Is it from Trump? He's truthing again, isn't he?
I had yesterday Joseph McBride, the attorney representing January 6 defendants. He talked about this document showing the Capitol Police had a sort of a game plan. And interestingly, this game plan not only anticipated a lot of things that were going to happen, but talked about having plants and infiltrators in the crowd, not just, by the way, people in the crowd to calm things down, actually people in the crowd to join the crowd and, if necessary, instigate things. And
oh yeah, if necessary, what would dictate a necessity to instigate things? If they weren't beating their fellow cops hard enough,
make chants and point to the Capitol and join people in going into the Capitol. So this goes beyond, by the way, the idea of the FBI having somebody inside the Proud Boys or the FBI having a plant at the 3%ers or the Oath Keepers,
which they didn't do.
We're now talking about the Capitol Police and the Metropolitan Police all
having people undercover in a giant mob that was talking about attacking the Capitol for days? You don't say.
Also, taking on this role of, putting on pro-America, back the blue type of hats. Why? Because they want to be seen as indistinguishable from the Trumpsters, and therefore...
Yeah, but there was one distinction, though, Dinesh, and you have to admit this. There's one very important distinction between the people you would say are instigators that were part of the Capitol Police or the FBI that you allege were actually agents of or actual Capitol Police. But the difference is they didn't, unlike the actual maggots, they did not participate in beating other police officers, one would think. And in those situations where people tried to stop the attacks on the Capitol and the attacks on the police, where you saw maggots going, hey, stop it. It's interesting that in the case of Ray Epps, for example, the guy you like to vilify, who you say is a FBI plant, his one instruction on the day that we're aware of from the guy he was talking to was, the cops are just doing their job, don't attack, which that guy didn't listen to and attacked the cops. So you're going to have to prove to me that the people that we saw on occasion trying to stop the people that, like the guy that saved Falzone's life, or the guys who were doing CPR on Roseanne Boylan, who eventually brought her to the uniformed police officers, you're going to have to prove to me that those weren't the plants in the crowd, that they weren't the ones that stopped the violence when it happened. Can you do that? No, I don't think you can.
Or think of it, if they do bad stuff, who's it going to be blamed on? The Trumpsters. Now let's turn to...
But if the Trumpsters do bad stuff, who might be there to keep it from crossing the threshold into abject murder? That would be the Capitol Police or anybody who's an informant who, while they are supportive of Donald Trump and wanted to be there, thought that if it resulted in a murder of a police officer or a fellow maggot or a member of Congress, that it would be bad for his cause ultimately, and tried to ratchet things down, and were warning the FBI or the Capitol Police or other law enforcement entities that their fellow maggots were planning the great day of the rope.
Fox News. Tucker Carlson on day one released some clips, and they were like, wow, look at all this stuff coming out about the shaman guy. Look at all this stuff about Josh Hawley jogging across the corridor. Look at all this stuff about Brian Sicknick. And then nothing.
I agree. I would go one step further in that the stuff that you're complaining about Hawley and the shaman, and Sicknick, that was nothing as well. So
the second day, when we're scheduled to be a day of more footage, nothing.
Starting to think this Tucker Carlson guy's full of shit, man.
And then you're like, well, it takes time to go through the stuff. It'll surely come out in the next day or the next.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Day or the day after.
I was like, every day Tucker comes on, I'm like, today's the day.
That or this week, nothing. And It looks like that's it. It looks like
that's it. Now what am I supposed to pin my hopes on? 46,000 hours and all they got is fucking the shaman guy walking around being corralled by police officers so he doesn't go someplace he's not supposed to go in the middle. Shit.
Like I won't say the fix is in, but it looks like somebody dropped the hatchet.
That's quite a fix. Yeah.
On Tucker Carlson.
I had no idea he was such an enormous dork.
And I don't know of any other way to look at this. I mean, obviously one way.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're a myopic idiot. We understand your worldview is incredibly narrow. That's why we're here. The mess.
Way to look at this is that Tucker reviewed the 44,000 hours of footage and realized that, you know what, by and large, I found just 3 clips and that's it. That's all I got.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Tucker isn't really saying. But the other possibility, which I give it, this is the 99% possibility, is after the first day. And let's remember, Chuck Schumer went on the Senate floor, Rupert Murdoch, I demand that you stop Tucker Carlson. And then guess what?
Is that what he said? Did he say, Rupert Murdoch, I demand you stop Tucker Carlson?
Somebody stop Tucker Carlson.
Huh, that was easy. I had no idea Chuck Schumer had such power over, let's give it a shot. Hold on. Chuck Schumer, Tucker footage, Murdoch, Belloc. Let's see, 2 weeks ago, just in Chuck Schumer slams Fox News, Rupert.
Last night, additional new evidence came to light that Rupert Murdoch and Fox News knew Donald Trump lied about the 2020 election, yet they allowed the big lie to air on their network all the same. More and more evidence keeps pouring out that these are the undisputed facts. I've never heard of a news organization push a story with such intensity while acknowledging very candidly behind the scenes that what they were peddling was total balderdash.
Balderdash? All right. Mr. Point of order, Mr. Chairman. I would like the gentleman's filth struck from the record, balderdash. Excuse me, the acceptable phrase is hornswoggle.
In one email, just revealed last night, Mr. Murdoch admitted sometime after January 6th that, quote, maybe Sean and Laura went too far, unquote, referring to primetime hosts Sean Hannity and Laura Ingraham. In another...
I was, for a second there, I thought it was a couple on a daytime soap opera, but...
...instance published last night's in another instance published last night in last night's Washington Post. Mr. Murdoch speculated that after losing the election, Donald Trump was going, quote, increasingly mad. Murdoch says Donald Trump is going increasingly mad. And then Murdoch worried that President Trump's allies plan to overturn swing state results. That sounds ridiculous and could lead to, quote, riots like never before. Murdoch, the head of Fox News, allowing these lies to continue, worries that they could lead to riots like never before. But it's not enough for Mr. Murdoch to express doubt and regret in private.
Clearly not.
Which is continuing to be documented. Because today, after he makes these expressions of doubt and regret and is very pejorative of his own newscasts and newscasters, the big lie still has a home at Fox News, Mr. Murdoch's station, news network. Just look at Carlson's segments this week. Members on the Republican side of the aisle should drop the pretenses and say it plainly. Fox News lied to the country about the 2020 elections, and in doing so, eroded the public's trust.
Yeah, okay. So obviously a
And
fiery,
who would have the...
a fiery and dark statement from Chuck Schumer that obviously is threatening Fox News with eradicator.
Power to do that. No, it's not even Suzanne Scott, the CEO of Fox News.
No,
these are orders that are coming from above. And that would mean most likely either Lachlan Murdoch, the son of Rupert Murdoch, who is sort of the de facto guy that people at Fox report to, or Rupert Murdoch himself. Rupert Murdoch, we know, is feuding with Trump. How do we know this? Because some very interesting...
Because he's a real billionaire and Trump's a fake one and it just gets under his skin, or?
Interestingly, and this all seemed to happen simultaneously, all the organs under Rupert Murdoch's control, of which
obviously does not include his, I'm sorry.
I named three. The editorial page of the New York Post.
Yes, it's de facto. Thank you, Doc Spano. Instead of de facto, I don't de facto.
The editorial page of the Wall Street Journal and the Fox News channel all simultaneously turned against Trump. So it's not...
It's weird. And it can't be... Must be his aftershave, I think.
Not as
probably.
if you just have guys at these outlets, they've all made independent decisions. No, again,
no.
This is a corporate decision from the highest level. So
it's another example of woke capitalism.
I feel a little bad for Tucker because I think Tucker is a brave guy. And
yeah, totally. I mean, if there's ever trouble, you can count on Tucker Carlson to not hide in a penthouse like a rich asshole. He'll be the guy. He's always in the front line. That's the thing about his show, is that like he's barely ever in studio anymore because he was in Bakhmut last week. He was during Katrina. He was standing in the eye of the hurricane, reporting directly from it. He used to wear, that's why he stopped wearing bow ties, because it started spinning so fast he nearly took off.
And I think he would have liked to have run with the footage. Now, why doesn't he just come forward and say, hey, listen?
Because maybe he's not brave. Oh.
They blocked me. I can't release the footage. And the
well, obviously, because he's a chicken shit.
Answer is somebody writes his paychecks as somebody writes the paychecks of everybody at Fox.
That's probably true. It is a business after all. Also, so you're saying he's brave, but he's also he can also be bought. He's just a whore, is what is the argument. Is that the argument? He's the world's bravest, the second bravest, the fifth. I mean, I don't know how many women have been paid to sleep with Trump. That's the question, I
So
guess.
what happens is they not only silence.
By the way, I'm jokingly using the word calm down.
These guys, but they force them into a pretense. And the pretense is that there's no news there, or they've made an independent news judgment not to cover it. In other words, they cannot admit the truth. And this is really, I think, the big problem with Fox, and really the big problem with some of the early email releases and so on that came.
Yeah, see, there might be another reason. You know what? He's only got a couple of seconds left. Remind me. Why is that legal? Okay.
Out through the Dominion suit with Fox is you get a little window into the fact that there are some people at Fox, not everybody, but some
including Trump,
people,
including Tucker,
who are kind of laughing and deriding not only Trump, but the Trumpsters, the MAGA crowd. And
yes, Tucker is one of those people.
Yet at the same time, they're very aware that they need the MAGA crowd, they need the Trumpsters to keep Fox News in the kind of massively profitable, high ratings cable network.
Right. Yeah, that's... So again, the whore defense seems to be where he's going.
It is. And so you've got a very duplicitous two-step in which they try to give the MAGA people just enough, while at the same time satisfying the feuds and vendettas that apparently the Murdoch family is now a part of. I wanted...
Okay, or try to follow me on this, the mess. Or some of the folks that are in that footage are in current legal jeopardy. And the footage that they have come across actually makes it more likely that they will be convicted, or it can be made to look like they have no defense, or that they are trying to get out of their plea, or a myriad of reasons why it might put them in more legal jeopardy for that footage to come out if indeed the government did not release it and charge them already. There are dozens of people who are not in the DC jail, who have been released on their own recognizance or are walking around with a fucking ankle monitor on, who are pretty sure they're going to get a slap on the wrist. But if this motherfucker puts out more footage that they were just walking around doing whatever the fuck they want, that they didn't come in and just leave, they were there. If they show up in some of that footage and it adds years to their prison sentence, you're talking about hundreds of lawsuits against Fox News on basically, I guess, it's an end run around their Fifth Amendment protection, that through selective editing they could blame Fox News for a narrative that did not allow them a fair jury, or that made it look like they were trying to get around whatever plea or whatever charges that they had in front of them, and it cost them time or in terms of fines, they had to pay more money. There were thousands of people there that day. If you slapdash start throwing that footage up to try, to create exculpatory stuff, and never mind, by the way, you're not going to, but never mind the fact that the families of and the individuals in the DC police force, where you're showing them shadowing him and the like, if any of them get a fucking death threat, Fox is on the hook for that shit. They may already have some that are coming their way because of that shaman footage, where they made it look like those guys were helping him, which is, I mean, in and of itself, you're going to lose. Fox is going to lose that civil case, and those police officers could fucking retire on the multitude of settlements that are going to come out of that. Never mind if somebody threatens their life or their family because they're like, you lied on the stand, you were helping this guy and you turned on him and blah, blah, blah. And then one of them ends up taking a pot shot at their house, or their kids are in danger at school. Do you see how this rolls? You see how this is legal trouble for Fox News because Tucker doesn't give a fuck, and he's so busy trying to edit propaganda to own some libs or to quench the thirst of the maggots that watch his show, that he's looking past the fact that he is setting up Fox for a huge class action lawsuit from everybody who was at the Capitol that day. Not that I give a shit. I mean, I look forward to it. But I would say for the record that this myopic dimwit can't see past his own goals and is not, doesn't have a wide enough view to recognize the other legal perils involved in that kind of idiocy. Does that make sense? Do I have to? 2 times today, I've outlawyered the lawyers, and I'm trying. I'm trying very hard. Sometimes I'm trying, and you could say I'm trying, but I am trying. And I hate when I'm like sort of in a position to do these assholes some favors, because I don't want to. Good Lord. He is, in fact, a moron. It is true. He isn't woke, y'all. Who's not woke? Me? Yeah. Dinesh going after Fox warms my cockles. I know it's good. He's not, I don't know why people aren't more angry with Kevin McCarthy for this. Well, because I think on the one hand, people on our side of the aisle, Democrats and the people who love them, recognize that this is actually a terrible mistake. And Kevin McCarthy is a moron who will continue to make more terrible mistakes, and allowing him to keep making these terrible mistakes will eventually help us. And all this stuff about how our justice system is going to cadaver and nobody wants to, the whole legal system is going to fall apart because Trump gets tried for this fucking porn star nonsense isn't going to happen. It's honestly, most people are going to go about their jobs and their lives and enjoy the country and continue to be citizens and blah, blah, blah. And if a bunch of them decide to fuck off and move to Qatar all of a sudden, I don't know what to tell you. If maggots decide to move to Russia, knock yourself the fuck out. But the reality is that I think most people aren't mad at Kevin McCarthy about this because it's a dumb move. This is just like the committees, and I'm going to leave you on this. I have said this before when these committees started, when people were like, they're going to take over, and I was like, they're probably going to lose the majority after they get it, and it's going to be glorious. But in the meantime, these committees they're putting together, these church-like committees, are going to do fuck all. They are not going to move the needle at all because they're all based on bullshit. They're all the same kind of flailing they've been doing on Fox News for 2 fucking years. There's no there at all. So why worry? If you're, if your opponent is punching themselves in the face, don't interrupt. Anyways, love you guys. I'll see you tomorrow. Philip Bittner will be joining us for the morning show, and it will be on Trump cuff watch at some point. I wonder if he gets shackled. think it would be hilarious. Again, like I said, if this were me, I would insist. I would insist on them being in front of me, like my hands cuffed in front of me, if they allow it at all, just so I could hold them up and go, see what's happening? Political prisoner. Like, that's how I'd make a big show out of it. But I know. I'm smart. Hey Siri, punch out.